where high school and college basketball seasons are over, but spring seasons like for baseball and softball and a variety of other outdoor sports are in full session. Now, after that summer recess break is coming for Elio Velez of News 12 Varsity. Man, welcome back.
Good to see you.
Man, what's been going on?
Been a lot going on.
Man, I know you've been busy.
Very busy.
You wait for summer, aren't you?
There's no break. You go from one to the other.
Okay. You know, overall, as far as college basketball, the Final Four is over, and Brooklyn had a spot in there, right? Bianca Cuevas, formerly of Nazareth, she played for Apache Pascal, the late Apache Pascal.
At Nazareth, and Ron Kelly at Nazareth. And what happened the other day, she was South Carolina. They win the national championship, their first national championship. A great honor for, a player, former Dons All-American, who had a hard time growing up. She lost her mother early. She lost her grandmother early. She had a lot of issues, but again, a lot of people with her family, extended family, even Apache and them, helped her become the player that she is. And to see her on the stage on Sunday night was a real big thing.
And also, that's the first time in quite some time that a New York City ball player has been in the Final Four, male or female.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Bianca had a lot of pressure going down there for a top program, have to come from New York and, adapt her skills down there. But this year she had a really good year. She got comfortable, and you could see her. She was on the floor at the end, and very confident, very cool player, especially in press situations. And for her to be celebrating there gave a lot of people, a lot of people I knew were very happy to see that.
And you can see she was well coached.
Absolutely, she was. Dawn Staley, great coach. What she's done down there to help that program rise. And, they beat Mississippi State, who had beaten UConn the previous night. It was a very exciting Final Four to see.
All right. Speaking of other college basketball news, a man who has coached, for centuries, it seems like, right? But for decades in basketball, he coached in the ABA. He coached in the NBA several times. He played in the ABA. He played in college. He also coached college basketball.
Right.
In fact, Larry Brown may be coming to LIU. Let's talk of that.
I mean, Larry Brown, as you said, has gone everywhere.
Larry the legend.
Larry the legend. He's won everywhere he's gone. And last time he was at SMU, he helped that program become a top 25, but he had left that program after they got into a little bit of trouble.
And SMU can't stay out of trouble.
He can't stay out, but he's such a good coach that when the news came out that him and LIU was talking, that's a big get if LIU can get a guy like his stature.
But the thing is, how long would he stay? I mean, and is he looking at the Barclays Center over after the Brooklyn Nets returning back there again?
I don't know if he'll return to the NBA game. I mean, that's such a different game. I think he's more suited to college basketball. Kids will learn from his knowledge, from the wars that he's faced. And as I said, he's won also a college championship at Kansas. I mean, if that does work, I mean, I can see him instantly becoming a really good team.
All right. Also, speaking of Bishop Loughlin High School, you have Mike Boynton, who was also an assistant head coach at Austin, right?
Oh, right. In a couple other places. Played at Bishop Loughlin, went to South Carolina, and just about a week ago took over as Oklahoma State. 3 years as assistant coach. Only for 35 years old, he still had a head coach.
Right, Mike Boynton, right. So right now he is the head coach of
Oklahoma State. Absolutely, yeah. It's a big thing for a New York City guy who, born and bred, played with Bishop Loughlin, led them to the city semifinals. First team guy. His skills and his leadership, especially how he knows up here, brings it down there to Oklahoma State. I think it was a great move for Oklahoma State.
You think he'll be looking to recruit ball players from up here?
Absolutely, he will. I mean, he still has great connections up here, and especially guys from the Northeast, especially guys from New York City. I think that's be a natural connection for him to bring those guys down to the Big 12.
A lot for Bishop Loughlin. Also, Ray Felder.
Ralph Felder, the Lincoln product.
Right.
Ralph Felder with South Carolina. That's a freshman, helped this team get to the Final Four, their first Final Four. I mean, a great story for a kid who was injured last year, couldn't play in the PSA championship game. They had lost to Jefferson.
Yeah.
And, he didn't want to sit that out. It felt really bad to sit on that bench. But the New York toughness, that's what he brought down to South Carolina, and the run that they made to the Final Four. It was very impressive to see for a freshman, especially in that type of situation. He delivered.
And more likely, he will be back there again.
Absolutely. Well, I think the next few years with him and Frank Martin, he's learned a lot from Coach Frank Martin. Kind of that toughness he needed. Almost kind of like the way Tiny Morton ways is, I'll bring the toughness out of you. You listen, you deliver.
A lot has been said about that coach also.
Absolutely.
Speaking of coaches, let's look at high school basketball, where Tiny Morton won the championship again. They won the state and city. First time since 2008.
First time Federation since 2008. They won the city first time since 2013. One of Tiny Morton's best coaching jobs, especially considering he needed a team to come together without, that notable all-star, the Lance Stevenson's, Isaiah White. There was no guys there, but they were all stars because they came together. Guys like Donald Cannon Flores, Mike Reed, Clay Brown. Those seniors were very important, and Morton had to get them together to play defense. They were tough.
So this was really a team.
This was a team, and they pretty much, relayed what he taught on the court. And what they did in the Federation up there, they beat Cardinal Hayes in the semifinals, and in the finals, they just defensively beat Long Island Lutheran, 20 turnovers. It was just a great coaching job he did all year to get the best out of that team. And I tell you, those guys have a lot of pressure. When you're in Coney Island and you see all those championship banners, you want to be the guys that say, we could be a legend up there. That's what Tiny said.
And they defeated Jefferson.
And they defeated Jefferson, which is also a big rivalry thing. And they also got that done, too. So it was a great year for Tiny Morton.
In girls basketball, South Shore did it again.
But they only did the PSL title, but they finally won the Federation title. This was Federation or bust this year.
So this was like basically an evolving thing for them to get to that level.
Yeah, South Shore coach Anwar Gladden kept saying, we're already the city champions, but this year we got to finish it all. I think we need to cap off how good we are for the rest of the state to see. I think the last few years they've gotten short, and I think this year they felt, listen, we got the seniors, we got Selena Faloxi, we got a lot of veterans to come back and say we can finish this off, and they believe they can finish this off. And in the final of the Federation, they dominated Mary Lewis.
So the power has switched to Brooklyn as far as girls basketball.
Absolutely. I mean, I can see South Shore, competing for a title for the next 4 or 5 years. They got a lot of talent out there.
Postseason All-Star play is in the works, right? Next week is the Jordan Classic at the Barclays Center. We have Rudy King, who also used to coach at Bishop Loughlin. He's now coaching at Monsignor Scallon. He will be a regional coach for that team. Also, Keith Williams is playing in that game, and Jose Alvarado.
Absolutely.
Williams went to Loughlin.
He went to Loughlin. A great career. He just finished off. He's going to University of Cincinnati. Jose Alvarado, Brooklyn native. He went to Christ King, had a really good couple of years. He's going to Georgia Tech. Isaiah Washington. Danielle Patterson, the girls' game. She's a McDonald's All-American, Brooklyn native. Played at Mary Lewis, helped them win the city and state titles. You got a lot of good representation there in those games, and it's good to see that New York kids can play on a national stage like that.
Coach of the Year for Coach Morton?
We named New Star Varsity named Coach of the Year and also Tri-State Coach of the Year. Well deserved.
About time. Thanks for coming, Elio.
Good to see you.